Good morning, everyone. We are Group 3 and we are here to discuss the differential treatment.
Good day, everyone. I am Renalyn Hilario and I'm going to start our report or our discussion about differential treatment approach. So, a differential treatment approach refers to a method of providing customized or varied interventions or services to individuals based on their unique needs, characteristics, or circumstances. This approach recognizes that different individuals may require different types of levels ops, or levels of support to address their specific issues or achieve desired outcomes. So, one well-known figure associated with a differential treatment approach in the field of psychology is Carl Rogers. So, Carl Rogers was a influential American psychologist who is best known for his humanistic approach to psychology and his development of client-centered therapy. So, ang differential treatment approach ay nag-aim to promote equity and fairness by recognizing and addressing yung mga unique circumstances and requirements para sa lahat ng individual sa pamamagitan ng pag-provide ng kanilang personalized and targeted interventions. Itong approach na ito ay nag-enhance din ng effectiveness of services and support the overall well-being and success ng isang individual. Rogers emphasized the importance of providing a supportive and non-judgmental environment for individuals to explore their feelings, thoughts, and experiences. His client-centered therapy focused on the idea that individuals have the capacity for self-actualization and personal growth when provided with the right conditions including empathy, genuineness, and unconditional positive regard. So overall, Carl Rogers client-centered therapy exemplifies the principle of the differential treatment approach by emphasizing individualized treatment, personalized interventions, and focus sa unique needs and experiences ng mga client. His work has had a significant influence on the field of psychology and counseling na highlight din yung importance of providing customized and tailored support to promote personal growth and well-being.
Good day, Ma'am Banyaga and classmate. I am Hershey R. Makaton, and today I will discuss to you the definition of terms of intervention, problem, humanistic approach, psychology, client-centered therapy, and empathy. So let us start with intervention. Intervention. So pag sinabi natin intervention, ito ay engagement ng isang social worker para matulungan ng individuals, families, and communities. Inaalam niya ang kinakailangan and wishes ng mga tao, and sa pamamagitan ng intervention, nalalaman natin ang nakabubuti para sa kanila. Isa pa, pag sinabi natin intervention, ang social worker ang pumipili based on client situations and goals. Next is problem. Pag sinabi natin problem, ito ay karaniwang nararanasan ng lahat ng tao. Dito pumapasok ang iba't ibang problema tulad ng stress, kahirapan, humanistic approach. So pag sinabi natin humanistic approach, ito ay tumutukoy sa kamalayan ng isang tao at sa pamamagitan ng human development, magkakaroon tayo ng responsibility sa society natin. Kaya hindi natin maiiwasan na magkaroon ng kamalayan sa paligid natin kung ano ang mga nangyayari at nararanasan natin sa buhay. Psychology. So alam naman natin na ang psychology, ito ay pag-aaral sa isip ng tao, study of mind, and also sa ugali ng isang tao. So ito ay isang pag-aaral para malaman natin ang isip at ugali ng isang tao para alam natin kung paano siya i-handle ng maayos. Client-centered therapy. So pag sinabi natin client-centered therapy, ito ay sumusuporta o tumutulong upang maging maayos ang paraan ng pag-handle sa isang client. Para maging okay siya sa ginagawa niya o komportable siya. Halimbawa ay may client ka na kinakausap. So you have to do a guide to support your client para hindi siya mahiya. Last is empathy. So, pag sinabi nating empathy, ito ay isang kakayahan kung saan nag-share tayo ng feelings and emotions sa ibang tao. Halimbawa nito ay kapag may problema ang ating kaibigan. Binibigyan mo siya ng comfort kapag nag-share siya ng problema. So, nag-iisip tayo kung anong paraan para mapasaya siya. So, yun lang and thank you.
Good day, ma'am. Good day, classmate. It's Rochelle Monte Agudo, and today I will discuss the application and casework of differential treatment. So, differential treatment in social casework refers to the tailored approach used by social workers to address the unique need and circumstances of each individual or family they work with. Here are some key ways which it's utilized. So, Number one ay meron tayong assessment. So, kung saan ang mga social worker ay nakikipag-usap sa client upang maunawaan ang kanilang problema at kung saan sila magaling. So, example nito ay isang client na isang teenager na may problema sa school dahil sa pambubuli. So, nakikipag-usap ang social worker sa client o maging sa magulang nito at kahit sa mga guro pa nito upang malaman kung bakit nangyayari ito sa client at tinatanong ng worker kung saang bagay magaling ang client na maaaring maging solusyon sa kanyang problema. So, pagkatapos naman maunawaan ng problema, dito na pumapasok yung goal setting kung saan nakikipagtulungan ng isang social worker sa mga tao upang magtakda ng layunin tulad ng nais nilang makamit. So, para sa teenager na nakakaranas ng bullying, maaaring ang layunin niya ay magkaroon ng kaligtasan sa paaralan at magkaroon ng mga kaibigan na maaari niya mapagkatiwalaan. So, dito na pumapasok yung intervention kung saan gumagawa ang mga social worker ng mga bagay upang matulungan ang client na maabot ang kanilang layunin. So, para sa teenager, maaaring makipag-usap ang social worker sa paaralan upang itigil na ang pambubuli at turuan ng client kung paano harapin ang mambubuli sa kanya sa mabuting paraan. So, utulungan siya makahanap ng mga activities kung saan makakahanap siya ng mga kaibigan. So, number 4, here are cultural competence. So, dito, nirerespeto at naunawaan ng mga social worker ang mga tao na nagmumula sa iba't ibang pinagmulan o yung kanilang mga culture. So, kung may iba't ibang tradisyon ang paniniwala ang pamilya ng client, nag-aaral ang social worker tungkol dito upang mas mapabuti ang pagtulong sa client. So, meron tayo ding kung tawagin natin na empowerment kung saan tinutulungan ng mga social worker ang mga client na mas maging matatag at gumawa ng mga kanilang mga sariling desisyon. So, para sa client, pinapaalalahanan niya siya ng mga social worker na ipahayag ang kanyang sarili at gawin ang mga desisyon na makakatulong sa kanya na magkaroon ng kaligtasan at kaligayahan sa paaralan. So, number 6 and last, so, meron din tayong monitoring and evaluation. So, patuloy na sinusuri ng mga social worker kung ano ang mga ginagawa nila, kung ang ginagawa nila ay talaga bang nakakatulong sa client o kung mas nararamdaman na ligtas ang client sa paaralan at nakakahanap ng kaibigan or yung alam ng social worker na epektibo ang kanilang tulong, kung hindi maaari nilang subukan ang iba't ibang bagay upang tulungan ang isang client. And now, I will let Carla Roldan to discuss the other part of application in casework of differential treatment.
Good morning po. I am Giancarlo Pirodlam from BSSW2A, and I'm going to discuss the continuation of application and casework on differential treatment. The differential treatment in casework holds immense value due to multiple reasons. The first is assessment. Understand the unique needs and circumstances of each individual or case. Pag po sinabi natin assessment is, dito pumapasok yung pag-gather natin ng data through interviewing, and dito masusukat yung skills natin kung paano tayo makisama sa tao, and dito masusukat yung skills natin kung paano magtanong, kung paano natin malalaman yung data na kailangan natin, and kailangan nating alamin yung sitwasyon ng clients bago siya magkaroon ng problem, ano yung kalagayan niya, ano yung nakaka-apekto rin sa problem niya, ano nangyari sa kanya nung nagkaroon siya ng problem. Lahat ng data na kailangan natin makuha para mas makapagbigay tayo ng tamang intervention doon sa client. And next is identification of differences. Identify the differences among client or case that require tailored treatment or approach. It means po na i-identify natin yung mga pagkakaiba po ng problem ng client. Ibig sabihin, example po ay sa cultural background. Kunwari may problem siya doon. Yun, kailangan natin tingnan yun. And next is sa socio-economic status. Yan, kailangan natin tingnan yan. Baka may problem din siya dyan. And sa personal preferences, lalo na yung sa mental health need, kasi itong mental health is mas malaki ang epekto nito sa client pag may problem dito. Kaya kailangan natin malaman para mas mabigyan natin ng required na treatment or approach yung ating client. And next is implement tailored intervention. Implement intervention and services that are tailored to the unique needs and circumstances. Ibig po sabihin nito is i-implement na po natin yung intervention na talagang required dun sa kanyang problem. And dito na pumapasok yung kung magiging epektibo ba yung ating napiling intervention. Kasi pag sinabi natin unique needs, ibig sabihin nito may kanya-kanya tayong pangangailangan and may kanya-kanya rin solusyon. Hindi porket pag sinabi natin unique is hindi lahat ng tao is pare-pareho ng problem and pare-pareho ng solution. Kailangan bawat isa iba-iba yung solution na kailangan yung mas require para mas ma-overcome niya yung mga problem na kanyang kinakaharap. And next is yung monitor progress. Continuously monitor progress of each client or case to ensure that the treatment plan is effective and appropriate. Pag sinabi po natin monitor progress is patuloy natin i-monitor yung progress na binigay natin doon sa client, kung effective ba ito, kung naging effective ba, kung may positive effect pa rin sa client. Example, nagbigay tayo ng intervention tapos may negative effect pala rin sa client, edi ang gagawin natin, i-adjust natin, tatanggalin natin yung mga nakaka-affect, nagiging negative effect dun sa client. At pag sinabi natin monitor progress is ito yung kung appropriate ba yung napili nating solution dun sa problem ng client. And the last one is yung evaluate outcome. Pag sinabi natin evaluate the outcomes is evaluate the outcomes of differential treatment approach to determine their effectiveness in achieving desired outcome. Pag natin evaluate outcome is ini-evaluate natin yung outcome ng client natin. Kung naging epektibo ba talaga yung client, kung may improvement pa rin sa problem niya, or kung nasolusyonan ba talaga yung problem niya, or naging mas epektibo ba yung binigay natin na intervention, kung naabot ba talaga yung hinahangad natin na outcomes, kung nakatulong ba talaga ito ron sa client natin. And kunwari, example, nagbigay tayo sa trabaho or negosyo. Yan. Nagiging maayos pa yung negosyo kung kung nakakatulong ba talaga ito sa client natin, kung kunwari hindi ba nalulugi or naging maayos ba yung takbo ng negosyo, kung mas umuunlad ba. And another example is sa kalusugan. Kunwari ay may heat stroke. Pag may heat stroke, syempre yung parang yung paralyzed na yung ating katawan. Yung kunwari nagbigay tayo ng medical support para mas habang nakapagaling tayong tumutulong. Titingnan natin kung kung mayroon bang pagbabago dun sa ginawa natin, sa binigay natin na intervention, kung nag-improve ba yung health ng ating client. And yun lang po yung aking part. Thank you po.
So good day everyone, I am Jana Samang and I am here to discuss the simple case with assessment or intervention. So our case is the case of Maria. Sarah, a social worker, is assigned to work with a family consisting of a single mother, Maria, and her two children, Michael, age 8, and Lisa, age 12. Maria recently lost her job and is struggling to make ends meet. Sarah notices that Maria seems to favor Michael over Lisa, often providing him with more attention, praise, and resources. So sa amin pong assessment, conduct a comprehensive assessment of the family's dynamics, including individual interviews with Maria and the children, as well as observations of their interactions. So conducting a comprehensive assessment of family dynamics is crucial when dealing with favoritism issues because it helps uncover underlying patterns, relationships, and communication dynamics that contribute to the problem. Understanding the family's dynamics can provide insights into the root causes of favoritism. Kasi baka kaya sila nagkakaganito because of the past of Maria. Baka nakaranas din siya ng ganito nung siya ay bata pa. Nakaranas siya ng favoritism within her parents, kaya na-adapt niya yung ganitong gawain. So we should facilitate open discussions and guide interventions to promote fairness, harmony, and healthy relationships within the family. So let's go po sa ating intervention, the individual counseling. So individual counseling can be beneficial in addressing favoritism issues within a family because it allows each family member to express their feelings, concerns, and experiences in a safe and confidential environment. It helps individuals understand their own emotions, perspectives, and behaviors related to favoritism, as well as explore ways to cope and communicate effectively within the family dynamics. Additionally, individual counseling can provide personalized support and strategies for managing the impacts of favoritism on one's self-esteem, relationships, and overall well-being. Next pa ang family therapy. It is necessary when a family is facing favoritism because it provides a safe space for everyone to express their feelings and concerns. It helps identify underlying issues, improve communication, and promote understanding among family members. Additionally, it can help the family develop healthier dynamics and relationships, addressing the root causes of favoritism and fostering a more balanced and supportive environment for everyone. So next po ang support services. Ang pagsasagawa ng support services kapag ang isang pamilya ay nakakaranas ng favoritism ay mahalaga upang matulungan ang lahat ng mga kasapi ng pamilya na magkaroon ng pantay na pagtingin at pamamahal. Ito ay maaaring magdulot ng hindi pagkakapantay-pantay sa mga relasyon at maaaring magdulot ng pagkakaroon ng sama ng loob at hindi pagkakaintindihan sa loob ng pamilya. Ang mga support services ay maaaring magbigay ng mga kasanayan sa pagpapalakas ng komunikasyon, pag-unawa sa differences, at pagtulong sa pagtugon ng mga isyu sa loob ng pamilya. So next po ang psychoeducation. We need to educate the family about the impact of favoritism and differential treatment on children's development, emphasizing the importance of fostering positive relationships and equal opportunities for all family members. So, ang psychoeducation po ay mahalaga sa sitwasyon ng favoritism sa pamilya dahil nagbibigay ito ng kaalaman at pang-unawa sa mga miyembro ng pamilya tungkol sa epekto ng ganitong dynamics. Ito ay maaaring magtulak sa malalim na pag-unawa sa kanilang sarili at sa iba pang mga kasabit ng pamilya. pati na rin sa paraan ng kanilang pakikitungo sa isa't isa. Bukod dito, ang psychoeducation ay maaaring magbigay ng mga kasanayan sa pag-handle ng mga emosyon at sitwasyon sa loob ng pamilya, na maaaring makatulong sa pagbuo ng mas malusog na ugnayan at dynamic sa loob ng tahanan. So, yun lamang po at maraming salamat.